Thanks, Stephen, for the introduction. I think I'm on this. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That's me, Derek Williamson, and I'm Head of Market Development for T-Mobile. First of all, can I just say thank you? Thank you on behalf of T-Mobile for the opportunity to come along and share in your conference, and to give me the opportunity to share with you, I suppose, some of my thoughts and some of my ideas in terms of the world of mobile and development over the next few years. When I was given this topic, Technologies for Learning 2012, as a marketing guy, and that's what I do, I'm part of the marketing department, I thought, fantastic, here we go. I get a chance to talk about the future, which means I can let my imagination run wild and come up with a range of new products and services and ideas that we'll probably never launch. So I've decided to take a bit more of a pragmatic approach to this in terms of what I'll do is I'll talk about a few things that I'm very confident will actually happen over the next few years, that will launch into the marketplace and will be available in terms of mass market, everyone using it. May not be as entertaining as the first option, but I think it's probably more relevant for you and you'll get a lot more out of it. The second thing is, Stephen looked at me as I came onto the stage, which I think was a little reminder in terms of the time limit associated with the presentations. We're running over a little bit. It is 15 minutes. I will aim for 10 minutes, and that way I may hit 15 minutes. You'll be glad to know that I am light on slides, but hopefully I'll have the right content if I can. There we go. So there's 4 areas I would like to cover or focus on. The first is mobile access and mobile evolution. The second is handset and devices. The third is content, or more specifically, mobilizing content. And the last one is partnerships. Now, the last one isn't exactly about technological development, but funny enough, I think it's probably the most important in terms of this audience and in terms of your thinking moving forward, because technology will happen no matter what. What we're not sure about is how it will be adopted and deployed, and that's where partnerships come into play. So I think that's probably very important. The first, mobile access and network evolution. Now, this really is the basic platform for everything mobile. This is the core of what we're about. It opens up huge potential and opportunity. Now, of course, mobile is not the only network that gives you access to content, but of course, the big advantage with mobile is the fact that it's not tethered to one fixed location. You're not tied down in one area. It is flexible. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't touch it, but it is out there everywhere, almost everywhere. So it is our basic platform for development. It brings to life and provides a gateway for the whole, I suppose, topic of learning, whether that's learning at school, learning at work. And I suppose what it gives you as users is that opportunity to, we use a phrase, work where you work best. And if you take that into the world of education, you can translate that into learn where you learn best. It gives you a lot of flexibility. What's happening in the world of mobile access and network evolution? A couple of things. Funny thing is, when I look at this slide, I've used this slide before, when I look at it, I think in the world of communications and probably across the world of technology, we seem to create our own language. I don't have many slides, and this is the only one I have any words on, and even these ones don't make a lot of sense when I look at them. We seem obsessed for whatever reason. We seem, as a technology world, we seem obsessed with 3, 4, 5-letter acronyms. Serious point in that is, I sometimes think that as industry in the world of technology, we forget about the end user in terms of what's important to the end user. And the reality of life is, one of the groups that I run within T-Mobile is all about market research and insights. When I talk to end users, they don't talk to me about GPRS and UMTS and TLE and whatever other 5-letter acronym they can come up with. They talk to me about two things. In the world of mobile access and the world of network, they talk to me about two things. And these two things are really important. And these are the two things that I think you should be taking away with you in terms of thinking about your future and how you use it. The two things, the first one is speed. And the second one is coverage. And the second one is probably a little bit more controversial than the first. But let's just take in that order in terms of speed. Speed is all important. We are in a world of I want it now. Our patience is running out. As individuals, we demand things in an instant. And that goes the same for learning and the same for kids. There is that approach, which is I want it now. Now, that applies to mobile networks. If mobile networks are slow, people will go somewhere else, will do something else. So the biggest development for us as an industry moving forward is increasing the speed of access to content, access to those things that are important to you as a user. Now, if I break this down and make it sort of really simple for myself in terms of removing all the technology and what's happening, there's three stages to it. There's the world of yesterday, there's the world of today, and there's the world of tomorrow. Now, the world of yesterday, which was probably 4 or 5 years ago, depending on how you measure it, we had a technology called GPRS. And if I look at the dimension of speed, and these are relative measures, they're not too technical, but they are relative. In the world of speed, GPRS is slow. That's how we sort of measure it. It's slow. You can get access to content, but you have to wait for it and it can be a little bit frustrating. In the world of today, and mobile broadband, and we do have mobile broadband, it's fast. It's on par with a lot of fixed line mobile communications. It works, it's there. T-Mobile pioneered the way in terms of introducing HSDPA. It's rolling out and it's available, and you can try it downstairs in terms of some of the booths. It does give a good speed. The world of tomorrow, when we move to LTE, long-term evolution network with a 4th generation network, it'll be much faster. I've read a couple of articles, and perhaps some of the guys more aligned to technology will tell you, I've read a couple of articles that they quote up to 100 megabits per second. Now, whether or not we get there, well, we'll see. But the title of tomorrow, I put that down to probably around about 2011, not before that. So our focus is around that HSDPA, rolling it out further. The second area is coverage, hugely important. I read in the literature, in terms of this overall conference, some of the visions that people are creating in terms of what they're looking for. And one of the visions was that every child, let me rephrase it, that no child should be disadvantaged, or we should have a digital divide in terms of the use of technology. Coverage is a part of that, and incredibly important. Today, if I use the same measures in terms of the world of GPRS, we probably quote something as an industry, something like 90% of the population will have coverage. In today's world, in the world of HSDPA, at T-Mobile, we probably quote somewhere in the region of 60% population penetration. And of course, the world of tomorrow, it's 0. It hasn't happened yet. So we're saying 60% of the population has access to this. If we really want to live that vision, then clearly a lot has to happen over the next few years in terms of making that available to a much wider audience. And here's a reality, and some of the things I'll leave you with are some of the checks that we need to think about, is it's not just about the technology, it is about the commercial model. And as we talk later about partnerships, one of the things we have to look at in the world of industry and in the world of education and government is how we bring those things together and who pays for it. These are basic realities that you will face day in and day out in terms of your budget, who pays for it. So the two big things that are important in this world of mobile access at a simple level, the first is speed. So when you're thinking about it, check out the speed, what it does today and what it does tomorrow. And the other is coverage. Can you get coverage? And again, there's various debates happening inside this room and outside this room in terms of the impact of coverage. The second area I'd like to talk about, this is the sexy area of mobile. Well, certainly if you're the target audience in terms of, and you guys will see this more than me, when you walk outside your school gate and you see a bunch of kids together, they've all got their mobiles out. Who's got the best mobile? Who's got the newest? What does it do? What are the features like? I'm going to go into shaky ground here, but when I look around this room, probably more than 50%, and myself included, are beyond that and are outside that pack. We don't get it. Everyone else gets it. and it really is exciting for them. The handheld is it's that gateway in terms of giving you access to a whole new social structure, whole new social interworking, and a whole new way of learning. And the thing is, we're catching up with the kids who already get it and see what's happening. In the world of devices, a couple of things are happening that you see already. One is the proliferation of devices. There are hundreds of new devices coming into this marketplace. One of my other roles at T-Mobile under market development, I look after all the devices that come into the UK and are launched into the marketplace. And I can tell you that every quarter of the year, there's over 100 new devices and form factors and designs that are launched into the marketplace. That is huge. And that will continue to happen. The second thing that's happening with devices is convergence. You look at a mobile device now, it really is the carry-all within your pocket. You know, it's not just about a phone in terms of making calls or sending text. You have everything in there. You have a camera. We talked a moment ago about MMS and taking pictures. We have video. You can take a video. You have navigation systems. Mobile devices are being used as navigation systems. People are using them as music centers. Sony has recreated its Walkman brand, which had died over a few years in terms of the mobile device. It's recreated through the mobile. So it really is, everything's been packed into it. Moving forward, I don't know what's left in terms of what else you can converge into it. Maybe one thing, and that's the credit card in your wallet. That's probably the thing that's important. A couple of little developments that I would point to in terms of the 2012. Before that, things that are going to happen in devices and make them even more exciting. One is the user interface, how we interact with a device. And I think the most exciting is the multi-touch screen. There's a new technology it's called haptics, and it allows you to be much more interactive with the device. So you actually use your finger. The finger is the magic wand in terms of controlling it. You touch the screen, and when you touch it, you get an immediate feedback. It vibrates. It tells you, there's an interaction here. And you can use it, someone talked about books, you can use it like a book. You flick the page to turn the page. You pinch your fingers together, and it zooms in. You flick them apart, and it zooms out. You draw a circle, and it rotates. That's exciting in terms of particularly a younger generation. How do they learn? They pick things up, and they try it. And I think that's probably the single biggest exciting development in terms of a user interface. Second thing I'd point to is the browser. We talk about internet and available through the mobile. You can do it. Some mobiles are better than others. The thing that restricts it is the browser. At the minute, it's restricted. Very shortly, what we'll have is we will have full browser capability on mobile devices. So it'll be exactly the same as sitting at your desktop, sitting on your mobile device, apart from the size of the screen. But the browser capability will be the same. Again, it's important to think about these things when you're thinking about the future and the direction you go. The last area I'll point to, and a few of the other members have already mentioned it, processing power. So storage, memory, processing power, speed of processing. Someone told me a statistic the other day saying it's doubling every 6 months. If that's the case, then a mobile device in the next year will be on par with a desktop PC in terms of its capability. Again, that's important in terms of being able to access information, do something with that information, process it, and send it on. The last thing for me in terms of handsets and devices, again, I'll probably upset a few of the equipment manufacturers and handset people. I think if I were to take a punt in terms of what's the right device in terms of education for this time frame we're talking about, I would go for the tablet-shaped notebook with the multi-touch screen that I talked about. That's the one that's most interactive and allows you to have a reference point for all your learning material, but also allows you that flexibility in terms of input. Will we be there in 2012? Will every child have one? No. Not because of the technology, because of other reasons, because of the cost associated with it, because of our ability to apply technology and take it on board. I think to get to that sort of vision, you're looking at maybe the sub £50 notebook in terms of education. The only way that's going to happen is if someone subsidizes it. What you'll find is, again, quite controversial, but what you'll find is at the moment, mobile operators subsidize a lot of devices that go into the marketplace. They do that because you're linked to a contract. As time moves on, mobile operators will stop doing that. They'll give you a lot more flexibility in terms of saying there's no need to be linked to a contract. You can buy pockets of airtime and access to information as snippets, but with that, you have to buy your own device. When it gets to that, who else subsidizes it? So an interesting question, I don't know the answer to, but one for debate. Content, I talked about content, more specifically mobilizing content. Is there enough content out there in the world? Well, apparently not, because looking at the Samsung video, fantastic video, by the way, really liked it, it was a good video. The only thing that gets me is our heads aren't growing quick enough to cope with all of that change and all of that information. It's just crazy. But you can see the amount of content, the rate at which it's increasing. How do we cope with all of that? I've talked about some of the developments in terms of the world of mobile, faster networks, more interactive devices. When you have that, then it is natural that people are going to want to access that content from their mobile device. It is natural, that's going to happen. And we have to find ways of making that easy and personalizing it. There's people in this room and there's people on the panel who know a lot more about content than I do. There's two areas, again, I would go out on a limb in terms of saying going to be incredibly exciting. And again, I think useful in the world of education. One was mentioned in terms of the BBC, and that is location-based content. You know, mobile devices now, we're integrating GPS. With GPS and cell site information, at any point in time, the network and the mobile device knows where you are. So that makes it really exciting in terms of doing localized content. At a social level, you can see the benefit of that. Where's the nearest restaurant? Where's the nearest pub? Can I get a taxi service? But for education as well, there's obvious benefits. Can I identify local learning centers where I can group together? If I'm out on a field trip or a site visit, then I can have localized content as a museum, art gallery, historic site, pushed to my mobile device. So again, very clear benefits for it. The other area, sorry, one more, just on mobilizing content and another aspect of content. Mobile TV. I think mobile TV, we can have a discussion with the BBC, mobile TV will be quite exciting in the not too distant future. And people automatically will say to me, you must be joking. You know, am I going to watch a feature film on a mobile device? Well, of course not. But I think mobile has the power to redefine TV. It's already doing it in terms of reports coming in. The number of reports you see on the news now, which are captured from a mobile device and pushed back out. So it's about snippets and clips of information. You guys know this better than I, but I heard some debates on the radio during the week about a shake-up in education and the future of learning. And I think the soundbite was the 5-minute lesson. Well, maybe the mobile TV becomes the delivery vehicle in terms of that 5-minute lesson. Don't know, but again, one to think about. The last area, very quickly, partnerships, not really about technology, but again, I think it's fundamental to how we take this forward and move forward into the future. Partnerships in terms of how you adopt and how you deploy technology. Technology is wonderful. There's about it, and we can prove or disprove anything in terms of technology and just how wonderful it is. We've seen the videos, we've seen the bright lights for the future, but it's only wonderful if you can figure out what it is you want to do with it and the benefit that you get out of it in your specific environment. And to do that, you need a plan. It's as simple as that. You need to think through, why am I even thinking about this technology? What does it mean to me? What do I want to do with it? What benefits do I expect to get out of it? And put that together as a plan. At T-Mobile, we're already doing that. There's a number of projects we're involved in. In fact, there's a couple of them I think are being discussed at this conference. One's the Alton Primary School down at Roehampton, where we're helping people interact with each other with small mobile devices. So it is happening. Partnerships are happening, I think, at a small level. What we need to do is find a way of increasing that and branching out, and maybe looking at partnerships at a much bigger level between government and industry to figure out, again, some of these visions that we talk about in terms of, will every child have a mobile device? Will they have access to networks? That's probably the area we need to be addressing partnerships. One last thing, if you are going down this path and you're thinking about how the world of mobile and handheld can help you in your learning, use the resources that are out there. There's a lot of resources and there's a lot of people who will come and talk to you and help you put your plan together. You don't have to do it in isolation. Apologies if I ran over. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Thank you.